Okay, we're recording. Thank you guys for reminding me. So using the app to stay within kind of an emotional proximity to your clients, even when they're not transacting. That was the goal of the 33 Touch and MREA. And as we get more and more attached to our phones, I think being the real estate app in your clients' phones is way up there on the pyramid of communication as far as being emotionally attached to your clients. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to access your app. So you're going to go to either the Google Play Store or the iPhone app store, and you're going to download the KW app. It looks like this. It's got a white background, and you're going to install that on your phone, and you're going to use it as if you were a consumer. So there's no agent login. You're going to use it just as if you were a buyer or seller of your own. And that's the number one thing I want you guys to do, is to practice using the app. Pretend that you're looking for real estate. You can either look here or just pretend you're going to buy a lake house or a beach house. That's a fun way to practice. And when you download the app, the first thing that you're going to do is set up a consumer account. And so I chose to pick another email address that I don't use for my business to sign up to be a consumer. And that helps me kind of keep those, whether I'm acting as an agent or as a consumer, straight. When I use Carrie at carriequalters.com, I'm pretending to be a consumer. So I created an account on my app using a different email address and password. And once you do that, you're going to be able to go and choose your agent. And you want to set yourself up to see yourself as an agent, okay? And then just play with the app, get to know what you can do with it. We're going to talk a lot about that in the next slides. But the first step is to actually get the app on your phone so that you can start playing with it. So what to expect in this class today, we're going to go through a few slides that talk about what is the app and what can it do. And then we're going to dive deep into the outline of the buyer and seller processes and get those set up. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how to promote the app and get it into the hands of the consumer. Okay. So number one, what is this app? So this app is different than Kelly. Kelly is your version of command for your phone. What is Eric doing? Decker, what are you doing there? I think he's on the phone maybe. Did you see that? That was awesome.
Looks like he's singing.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry, Decker, making fun of you. The KW app is what completes our ecosystem with Command. So Command is your agent tool to stay in touch with your clients. The KW app is what your clients have with them, okay? And all of this is connected to data that KWRI is collecting and keeping track of and helping us manage our business with that data. So what can your consumer do with the app? They can obviously search for real estate. That's the number one thing that consumers want to do. They don't want to see your bio, although they can. There is an About My Agent page, but they really just want to look at houses. So they can save their favorites. They can make collections of their favorites. So they can use a theme, houses with great yards, houses on Lake Lumiere, houses with a mountain view. So any kind of category that you make, they could make a collection of maybes and yeses, so think of collections as a Pinterest board, right? So it's fun for them to use even when they're not actively searching for property, okay? They can hide homes that they don't like. That's particularly useful for active buyers. They can share collections with people in their life. So I think that's a great way to get your app into other people's hands, is by sharing collections. They can collaborate with co-buyers, which has turned out to be a great feature. If the wife has her app on her phone and the husband has his app on his phone, the three of us can actually chat about houses within the app and make comments and say, what do you think about this? Agent says, I'll go check it out. Then makes a comment, oh, the kitchen is really smaller than you guys like. Automatically, that house is off the list. You didn't waste a lot of time scheduling the showing. So I think that collaboration is great. I don't know about you, but sometimes busy families that are in your pipeline are hard to get in the car because they're so busy they don't end up talking about their big goals and plans with each other. I have several clients like that right now. It's like, oh, we just haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about it. So having an app that they can play with allows them to collaborate with each other and with you.
Carrie, is there a desktop version of the KW app?
So the desktop version is just your website. It's the same IDX, and their login is the same. Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to collaborate with
yep.
the
one of them can be on their desktop for sure.
You do that via the desktop or could?
You can. Yep, you can do it via either one. So I have the app on my phone that I've logged into. I can pull up my own website on my computer and log in with the same credentials and see all my collections and everything that I've created on my website. Mm-hmm. The app and the website have some different features outside of search for homes, but that search for homes and saved homes and collaboration is connected. One thing that the app has that the website doesn't is the guide. And so the guide is going to walk your active clients through the process of selling and buying. So they can click on their app, on the guide, and walk themselves through the process step by step. So
the guide's on the website too.
Oh, it is? Thanks, Kevin.
You have to log in, but yeah.
Once you log in, you see that. Okay, super, thank you. And they can access neighborhood snapshots through the app and kind of see what is happening with the statistics in that neighborhood, what's going on, and follow it. So they feel like they're really educated when it's time for them to transact. So that's what your consumers can do. Now, what can you do with the app? So through the app, you can provide them really hyper-local neighborhood data, which is what they're after. That's what clients are hungry for, and that's what they can't really get on some of the big portal sites. You can keep your transaction really transparent. I find that the biggest transactional problems happen because the client doesn't know what to expect. And even when you've done a thorough buyer consultation with them, 3 steps into the process, they've forgotten the whole thing. So even without technology, one thing that I'm really mindful about doing is reminding clients what's coming next. So congratulations, our due diligence is over. Now what comes next is they're going to send the appraiser out, and the appraiser is going to assess the value of the home, and here's what happens with that. I maybe told them that when we first sat down to talk about selling and buying, but they don't remember that whole process as the process is unfolding. And so having your guide on your app allows them to check in, because a lot of times, I know it feels like they call us all the time with questions, but probably twice as much they're sitting at home with a question that they feel is too dumb to call you and ask you. So having the guide allows them to check in and feel confident and secure that you know what's going on, steps are getting checked off, and they know where they are in the process. Now, this guide is intended to be sort of a macro view of the process. Within opportunities, you also have a checklist that is a micro view. So things like fill in this form, make sure that listing maps correctly. All those little micro steps are intended to be part of the opportunity checklist. Your guide documents the big milestones of a transaction for a client. The other thing you can do is see in your contacts who has downloaded and logged into their app and who is active in their app. That's going to be really important. You can watch the client activity within the app. So within each client record, you can see which houses they've looked at, which ones they've favorited, if they've been in a certain collection a lot lately. And as you get more and more people with your app on their phone, what you're going to notice is all of a sudden, this person you haven't talked to in a year starts using their app a lot. That's definitely somebody that you want to move up in your call list and be able to communicate with them with more urgency, more frequency than you would somebody who's not actively using their app a lot. They may be more apt to transact because they're playing with the app more. Somebody's echoing. So within contacts, and we're going to look at some views of this live in a second, but you can see who is associated with you on their app, who has viewed a listing, what listing they viewed, who has shared and edited collections, and who has saved searches. You can also set up saved searches on your end to share outward with your clients on their app. So here's a view of the buying guide, and this is what the steps look like. So you're going to set your budget, you're going to get your loan pre-approval, and these steps are able to be checked off as we go. And so next we're going to talk about how to set up these guides so that you have good functioning guides within your app. All right, so next we're going to talk about outlining your buyer and seller processes.
Hello, Brady.
Thank you, Brady. All right, so what are the milestones that we see in a seller transaction? They've given us some of the big ones here, but can you guys think of any that we might be missing? You guys unmute yourselves and holler out something that might be missing in this seller transaction timeline that I'm showing you. Or put it in chat. Is there anything you guys do with your seller before it's showing?
Yeah, I was going to say all the setup stuff is
All
not
the
there.
setup stuff, staging, photos, video, right?
Yep.
Showing your home, review offers, inspection, appraisal.
Maybe the paperwork between inspection and appraisal, like the loan, the info sheet and the
return info sheet to attorney. That's a good one.
or oh, I just had something in my brain and it went out. Oh, utility information.
Utilities. Let the utility companies know that you're moving. Yep, perfect.
Maybe even scheduling your mover.
Schedule a mover. Have you ever had a seller that didn't know that they had to move out on moving day, on closing day? Because that happened to me once.
Did it really?
Yeah. Never assume that people know what to do. You really have to tell them because you can't, I mean, it says it in the contract, obviously, but we do this every day and we forget sometimes that the things we take for granted, not everybody knows exactly how to do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few more steps in our buyer transaction, and I bet you guys can probably think of a few more. Start your search, get pre-approved, tour homes, make an offer. I might put make an offer and negotiate the offer in between there maybe. I guess that's execute a contract, home inspection, home insurance, home warranty, and close. What do you think? Appraisal's not on here anywhere.
No, and neither is loan docs.
Loan docs, yeah. Send your lender 1 million pieces of information.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be on there.
Earnest money could probably be on there too.
Earnest money, perfect. Yep. So one of your homework assignments, and I will put in the chat this document. Where's chat? There you are. Your job is to take a few minutes and think about your transaction. And I want you to think about every step. I want you to think about the transactions that you've had blow up and why did they blow up? Did they blow up because your client didn't expect something and then they were surprised and freaked out? Does anybody have an example of that? If I had just told them that they needed to move out on closing day. It's not letting me do my, I'll do that in a second. But there's a great worksheet that gives you several pages for each buyer and seller that helps you and prompts you to brainstorm about the steps of your transaction. So do that with a pen and a paper. It's easier than when you're getting frustrated with technology. Technology's only purpose is to help us do great transactions and be with more people, right? So think about the steps of your transaction. And then right now I'm going to go live and show you how to enter that into your app, okay? So we're going to go and we're going to do the KW app Kelly guide together. So if you go to Chrome, and I want you to navigate to go.kw.com/app setup. So that's go.kw.com/app setup. And that's going to forward you to the Kelly guide to set up your app.
Go.kw app.
Let me drop it in the. My mouse is lagging. It's making me go.kw.com/app setup.
App setup.
Carrie, quick question. So I see in my command that obviously, so you like your all new KW app is here. So since I've set mine up, and I'm sure a lot of people have.
Yep.
And I'm sorry if I missed this. Do we need to reset up anything or refresh?
No.
Does that do it? That does it automatically if there's obviously a refresh or anything like that. But
Correct. Yeah, so that announcement that they're making is just encouraging agents to set their apps up who haven't yet. So in your case, you can just ignore that announcement.
Close that. X that out.
Yep, you can still go to this guide and walk through it, make any little updates or tweaks to your app settings. It's not going to overwrite what you've already done. This is an easy way to kind of get an overview of what you did to set up your app. Obviously, some of the things that we're about to walk through, you can manipulate other places in command. But I have found that this guide is the easiest way to get your settings right within the app. And so whether it's the first time you're setting it up or you just want to check your settings, you can still use the guide. Okay, so the guide's just going to walk you through step by step getting everything set up. So we're going to hit get started. It's giving you a preview. This is going to set up your client experience with the app. Manage client relationships just means you're going to set up your guide. And then share your app is going to help you set up your smart plan. Okay, so let's hit next. The first thing it's going to do, it's going to set up your landing page that we're going to use. We're going to talk about sharing your app later and how to get it into the hands of people. But this first step is setting up a landing page website that you can use to share your app with people. So under client settings, you can check on app download. And the only thing that you really have to change here is you can change this to the only real estate app you'll ever need, or if there's something else that you want to say there, you can say something else there, okay?
Under the hero text?
Under the hero text, yep. So, I mean, I always leave things, unless there's something really specific I want to say, I don't see any reason to change a lot of this stuff, right? Because Keller Williams has written it for us, and I think it's pretty good. So your app URL is right here. It's always going to be app.kw.com/ and then your code. So when you're in your guide, you'll see your code here. Okay, that's my code. And so this is the website that you'll use to point to this landing page. And we'll talk about this again when we talk about sharing your app in a minute. But that's something that you might want to copy and paste and just kind of keep in your notes somewhere. And then you also have a text code, which is just your code, okay? Any questions about that? Okay, and when you send this landing page to people, what they're gonna do, they're gonna be given instructions that they can do the text code, you can see right here, or they can just put their mobile number here and say send link, and it'll send them a link to download the app right there.
Hey, Carrie, this is
Yeah.
Rachel. When I
Hi.
send the text code, does it attach them to me as their agent, or do they still need to manually do that?
They will not need to manually do that as long as they don't override the login. So what I've been telling people is, hey, click here to download my app, whatever, make sure to sign up or sign in. Because if they X out of creating an account, it will not attach you. And when they download the app, they're prompted to create an account right away. And I almost wish there wasn't an X up in the right corner, because what's happening is people are Xing out of that creating an account, and then they're not attached to you.
So they have to create a username and password at that time?
Exactly.
They should maybe send them a text to say, come up
Yep.
with a username or password before you click on the link.
Yep. Make sure that you, yeah. Or I've just been saying, make sure you create an account.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And you know, at first, when I was first learning how to do this and was sharing it with people, at first thought, my monkey brain was saying, that's not cool. I don't want him to have to create a da-da-da. That's what my chatter was. But if you sign up for Weight Watchers, you've got to sign into that app right away. If you want to save a house on Zillow, you've got to sign up right away. People are used to signing up for stuff, so I don't think it's a huge barrier. And if you want to explain to them, you know, if somebody's like, I don't want to, whatever, and that's fine. They can still look at houses without signing in. But in order for them to save houses or share stuff with you, they have to have an account, which makes sense. New added to the app and website is featured listings. So you can toggle featured listings on and off if you want to have listings featured, you know, right across the here, right below the hero image. You can have some featured listings. The title you can change. Toggles.
So what would happen if you chose that and those listings go under contract? So does it still show those same ones, or what happens?
So once they go under contract, they disappear. And you do have to, at this time, manually update featured listings. So you could just make that part of your listing routine to add it as a featured listing on your app.
But does it say featured listings even if there isn't anything there? So is that going to look stupid to have featured listings and nothing there?
That's a good question. I haven't tested that yet.
Okay.
And right now the radio button is not even toggling for me. Because I just played with this the other day because it just got added in the last update. I know there's a lot of requests to automatically feed from listing agent, you know, but I do know it drops off once it goes under contract. Okay, so that is featured listings. Okay, so now we save and continue. Now here's the guide builder. This is what you're gonna sit down, fill out your worksheet, and then take your time to set this up. That's your homework. It's gonna walk you through step by step, first your buyer guide and then your seller guide. Or you can do it in whatever order you want, but you're gonna start with the setup, and you're gonna do a pull down menu to pick whether you wanna work on buyers or sellers first. So I'm gonna pick sellers. Okay, and so it says, congratulations on starting the process of selling your home. That's great. So that's the first page of the guide on their app. So if you hit next, it gives you an opportunity to edit this a little bit, make it sound like it's in your voice. And then next, it's going to show you the steps. Okay, so you can see I've already added staging your home. Because remember, we talked earlier that that was one that was missing. Now, if I want to move these around, I can click and grab them. Oops. It's always hard to move the first one. Trying to find add a step. Where did they put that? Oh, there we go. I just wasn't scrolled all the way down. You can add a guide step. So I'll just click on that and say, schedule professional photos. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to write, I'll add a little bit better there. And then find a picture. I don't have anything particularly picked out right now.
So those pictures you have to grab and find.
Grab and find. Now you could go to designs, find one, and then download it. It would be nice if they had a button right here to say, pick one
Yeah,
from design.
sure.
Yeah. I'll just use a Zoom logo for now because that happens to be right there on my desktop. Okay, and so now I've got scheduled professional photos and I can drag that up to right after staging. Okay. Come on, mama. Isn't that something? There we go. Just drag it up. Okay. All right, so once you kind of have them in the order that you want them and that you have your pictures and your descriptions and everything all set up, obviously, hopefully I remember to come back and fix that. Then I'll go to next.
I assume a photo is not required.
That's a good question, Brady. Hold on. I think
It is.
it is required, I think. Yep, it's starred, so you need something. Now I'll show you at the end if we have time some ones in designs that I think would work great. So to delete it, you just open it up and then deletes there at the bottom, okay? Okay, so that was the whole seller's guide. So that's all there is to updating those steps. So now I've got a seller's guide that's ready to go. And then I can click add a guide. Now I can do my buyer's guide and walk through the same steps. Start your search, get pre-approved to, or make an offer. Okay, so this one, remember we said, oh, there's nothing about the appraisal. So I'm going to add a guide step, and it's going to be called get appraisal. And then here I might say something about if the appraisal comes in low, you know, your whole spiel of okay, and then find a picture and then move that step where we want it, right? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and delete that so it's not there. Okay, and And then next, now you've built your buyer and your seller's guides. Okay.
Carrie, I guess all of this is live. It's not being saved in a draft and then you publish it.
Correct. It's all live. Yep. Yeah. So if I were to open my app right now, I would see the buyer and seller guide. Now you have to enable the guides for each client. That's another, that's over in opportunities. So this is just setting it up so that you can launch it for clients. Okay, so the next step is some settings to share your app. So there's a Promote My App Smart Plan, and this Kelly guide will help you just set it up so that it's ready to go and will be in your Smart Plan library for you to use. So the first thing that goes out is an email that has this picture and talks about a market snapshot, get all the in-demand stuff that you want. Then the next touch is a text that says, hey, this is Carrie with Bright Homes Atlanta. Did you see that a neighbor, oh, I would take that A out, listed a home. And then the last one is, did you know that you can see cumulative stats about your neighborhood, right? So an email and 2 texts, okay? And so you just want to do the radio button to turn it on. From here, you can go ahead and add people if you want to. If you want to start adding people to that smart plan, you can.
Do you already have to have their neighborhoods set up in Command?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Not for this. No, it'll just take them straight to the search. So your neighborhood in that case is more general than if you have it set up, but it'll still work. Think through it, okay? So that was the whole guide. And once you walk through kind of those 3 sections of the guide, you're kind of set up and ready to go to use your app. There's not too much more personalization as long as you set up your marketing profile. So if you've been to Command 101 and you've set up your marketing profile so that you have a picture and your contact information all ready to go, you should be good and ready to use it. Any questions so far? You guys doing okay?
I do. And maybe I'm sure this is user error. When I open my app, the buttons are half cut off so you can't read the words. And it looks a mess and it's difficult. And to me, it's just very not easy to use. So I'm really curious if it's mine or if everybody else is struggling with it. I'm used to being able to see listings in the area, like if I'm driving down the street, oh, I'm curious what that one, and when you hit, listings near me, it would automatically show you what was in the area. So I'm really struggling with this one, and it's probably me, and I admit it. I'm sure it's me, but help me to love this because I don't love it right now.
I'm helping you. One thing that you want to check is that do you have your settings on your phone set so that your text messages have really big texts, really big font so you can read it better? Yeah, so that is one of the problems that we're seeing is when a lot of us have our text set up to be bigger, your phone is telling the KW app that it also wants to be bigger, and the app is not responding well to that. And so try setting that setting so that you can't read your texts for a minute and see if that helps it. Now, I don't know what the long-term solution is.
I know, because that sucks, because I mean,
because a lot of people do.
Use the app, I have to turn my text on, and I won't remember that. So
yeah.
And I have the same problem.
Yeah, it's if you have your phone settings so that your text is extra large, it is going to make it so that your KW app is not as user-friendly. So maybe there's a setting where your text is readable but not as big as you want it, and your app looks better.
I'll play with that and see.
Maybe. And then if listings are not coming up near you, you maybe have turned off location permission on your phone. So that's a setting that some people turn off for privacy, if they don't want apps to be able to track their location.
I don't think I did that. I mean, yeah.
Because if I hit the little, if you're in your app, the screen that comes up first is houses. And if you click the little blue arrow in the upper right corner, it's actually an outline of an arrow. If you click it to make it blue, it'll center your search on where you are to current location. So that works.
Yeah, I think that is something I miss from the old app. Said it knows where you are when you open it. Now you have to.
Yeah.
But you have to do that on Google Maps and all that stuff too, on Waze and everything. So I think people are used to doing that now.
Well, and what it does is, let's say, whenever we go up to our lake house, I always search for what's for sale around us up there. And as I'm searching up there, next time I log in, the app remembers where I was last. So I do kind of like that. I think a lot of people, we probably use it in our car a lot to say, how much is this house right next to me? And active buyers probably do too, but I think casual lookers look somewhere different than where they're actually sitting. They're like, ooh, I kind of want to move in town. Let me go see what's for sale in Virginia Highlands right now. So they're going to scroll down and say, show me what's here. And then the next time they log into the app, it's going to show them the same search, so they don't have to scroll from East Cobb all the way down to Virginia Highland again. So I think it's actually a little more consumer friendly. It's not exactly what we're used to with the old KW app, but
yeah, that's a good point. I do like that.
It remembers where you were last time. And once you find where that arrow is, because it's not super prominent, it's pretty easy. So, okay, let's talk about promoting the app. So the app's no good if you're just going to use it yourself, because our new MLS app is actually pretty good. And you can see the listing agent information on that and call them and set up the showing. But the whole point of this is to get us and our app into the hands of our clients and consumers. So there's a few ways, there's actually a ton of ways that you can promote it. I'm going to talk about kind of the most productive, I guess, ways to use them, for lack of a better word. So we talked about that website, right? And that website that you set up in your Kelly guide, right? So if I copy this URL and I go to a browser window and paste that. Oh, it's not your code. Mine is KW9MK4YY. So if I go to that URL, this is what a consumer is going to see. So however I want to get this to them, and you think about posting it on social media, emailing it to them, texting it to them. You can go buy a URL that's called carriesapp.com. And then when you're talking to people on the phone, you could say, hey, go to carriesapp.com to download my app. You might want to have a short URL that's easy to remember. So, when I set this up, it walked me through putting my picture and all the stuff. It has a little bit of what it can do. There's a video about it that they can play. Here's the features of the app. And then they can actually jump over to my website from here. But this is, once they go here, they can put their cell phone number right here and send a link. And then I just got a text message. That was my cell phone number. I just got a text message that says, click here to download the Keller Williams app. Okay, and it has a link to my app. And as long as they create an account, when they first download it, they'll be connected to you automatically. Okay, so that's the first way, is using that URL. And you can put that URL anywhere. Put it in your email newsletter. You can embed that URL in your email signature and have a little piece of text that says, hey, to search all the homes in the area, download my app, and put that link in your email signature. You can also text your code that you get from your guide to 87778. So when you text those letters and numbers that are assigned to you to 87778, you're going to get that same text message that says to download the app, click here. And when they click there, they're going to be taken to the App Store. Okay. You can, yeah.
You said that if they create an account, right, they'll be attached to us.
Yep.
And you said when they download it, if they chose not to create an account immediately, but a month later, they want to save a favorite.
Yep.
I assume at that time they create an account.
Yeah, they can. They will though have to go and say my agent is Brady, and there's a place to do that, and you would search for your name and pick you.
Does it force them to pick an agent?
To create an account, yes.
Okay, so it could be any agent.
Could be. Mm-hmm. So if they've met 6 agents since you connected with them, you could be kind of giving up somebody there. So you want to encourage them to create an account right away, even if they're not going to use it. Now, if you share your app with your sphere, people who know you really well, and they somehow don't create an account, forget to X out of it, whatever, and then later they're saying, oh, I want to share the houses I want to see next weekend, because now all of a sudden they're a serious buyer. But I don't see how to do, it's in the settings in the bottom right of the app. So if they don't have an account, there's like a little person, it says more. And if you click on that, it says find a Keller Williams agent. And you click and then search for a name, and then you connect to them.
Yeah. What is it that's unique about creating the account when you first download it that it's assigned to you? Do you know? I
don't. And I don't know.
It would seem that there would be something embedded,
So
there would be something embedded in. It would seem there's something would be embedded in the app that regardless of when you create it, the default would be.
Right. That may be true, Brady. That may be true.
Okay.
Yeah. I have had seems like the people that have gone and done it later have gone and found me first and then created an account, but that doesn't mean you would have to do it that way, I suppose. Just thinking through. But I would think you were right. That's the kind of thing, I'm learning this thing by playing with it and testing it. So the first thing you do is you create an account for yourself. And then the next thing you do is create an account for a friend or a spouse and say, hey, can you play with this thing for me and tell me how it acts goofy and tell me how you like it. And then you release it to I released it to a networking group that I trust and said, if this thing's squirrely, I don't want to be giving it to leads. So I'd rather give it to you guys and see what you think. So I've been doing that for 6 months on this thing and, seeing cases where this happens or that happens and, oh, I know this. And so that's one, the signing in later is not when I've had a whole lot happen yet.
Hey, Carrie, can you show us how, for those of us that are a little less proficient, can you show us a demonstration of how people can share it with friends and family or save it or delete it or whatever, how they would work in the actual app? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Hey, is Kevin still on?
I'm here.
Yeah. Can I get through the next couple of slides and then would you share?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. One of the things I'll have him share with you is how to share it directly from the app, because to me, that's hands down the easiest way, is if you have the app on your phone, and I've done this a bunch, is just, hey, let me share my app with you. And you go in and it just says, share it. And then you just put their cell phone or email or something in there, and it sends it right to them. There's a great video that talks all about the app that I would encourage you to post on your social media with some text that says, download my app, it's awesome. And then you use this URL code. Ooh, changing my thing. And then again, you can use that whole smart plan that sends them an email and 2 texts reminding them to download it. So Kevin, let me stop sharing. And would you share your iPhone and show them, give them a little tour of the live app? It is.
All right. Is that working? Can you see this?
Yep, absolutely.
Looks
Cool.
so much better than mine.
Yeah, I think it's a scale issue, Julianne.
Yeah, most likely. Let's see. So you had to actually show you now that we have it up. If someone wanted to see the listings near them, so when you first open the app, it might be somewhere else. At the top right corner is that little arrow Carrie was talking about. So if you hit that, it's going to turn blue and go right to you. And then you can just pinch to zoom. So I see there's a listing close to me. I can either click right on it and it's going to open up. Or if you go to the top left, there's a list button. And that's going to show a list that you can scroll through. So right now there's only one. But if I zoom out a bit to where there's a few more listings, if I go to list, it's going to show all of them.
That's cool. How come I didn't notice that before?
Yeah, it's kind of a little hidden button at the top left.
Yeah, it is.
Toggle between
I
that.
didn't realize it was a toggle.
Yeah, so I think a lot of agents miss that list button because when they go from the old app, you go to the nearby homes and you get to scroll through them. But I think, Keller Williams tested it out on a bunch of people and realized they want to see the map first because that's what Zillow does, that's what Redfin does.
Yeah.
But they also give us that other option.
And people are smarter than me as far as, at least the younger people.
Yeah. It just comes down to pressing random buttons and seeing what happens.
I'm always afraid I'll break it, so there you go.
You can't break it.
All right, so to show how to share it, we're going to go to the bottom right corner to where it says more. And, once you initially create your account and make sure you're branded to it, you're going to go down to share the KW app, which is about halfway down. And that's going to pull up a little menu that gives you different options. So you can, copy that text code, or you can just select a contact. So I could go to messages and search for someone. And then just select them. And then if you want to change up the text in there, so you might want to change it to say, make sure you create an account when you open the app so you can start saving homes and creating collections. And then you can also email it, post it on Facebook Messenger. So there's a lot of, I guess you can airdrop it. So you can just go in public and send it to random airdrop people. I don't really know how that works, but probably wouldn't recommend it. But
That would be great if you were in a group, like if you're doing a new home buyer seminar, you could airdrop it to everybody.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
See, I got potential.
And then you'll see right above that is where the co-buyer section is. So if you don't have a co-buyer and you click there, it's going to allow you to put in someone's email. and it's going to send them an email that says, you know, Kevin Jackson requested you join them on the KW app as a co-buyer, and it's going to send them the branded app code as well. So as you can see, I had my girlfriend sign up, and every time she goes in, she can see my property collections and she can create new collections, and we can communicate back and forth. So if she saves a property on her list, I actually get an email that says, Bree saved this property to this collection. Click here to view.
And then what does Patty see?
And then Patty gets a, I believe, Kelly notification and a command notification. And if you go into the contact in command, it's going to show they're saving this property. They have this note. They want to tour it on this day on Zoom. There's actually a lot of new updates. I'll show a couple of them. So let's say I click on this property right here. So at the top right corner is where you can heart it to save it to a collection. So I'm going to click that. It's going to pull up my different collections. So I'll save this one to Woodstock and press save. And then hopefully Kelly will notify me. Let's see. All right. No Kelly notifications yet. Maybe it takes a minute. We'll see if that pops up. So inside the property, they now have the schedule video tour button at the bottom left. So if I click on that, it's going to give me 3 different dates and times that I can select from. It's kind of vague: morning, afternoon, evening. And then once you go through all that, you can choose in-person or live video tour. And if you choose live video, it gives you a few options for your preferred platforms. So if someone only uses like FaceTime, they might select FaceTime. And then you're going to get that notification that says this person uses FaceTime and wants to see this property on this day. And you can go and select from those 3 time frames to see which one works best for you.
Hey, Kevin, are they scheduling that with me, the agent who the app is connected to?
Correct.
That's very cool.
Kevin, what if I don't have a FaceTime?
Then you call them and say, we're going to do this on Zoom or Google or and meet in person. It's just their preferred video tour apps, I guess. So, you know, it just comes down to a conversation. If you don't have FaceTime, then figure something else out that works for you both.
Lilia, get an iPhone.
Nah,
Never.
I'm with you, Lilia.
What do Androids have in lieu of FaceTime?
Duo.
Duo. Is that on there?
It's one of the options, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Google Duo.
I'm always lost in all Apple products.
So then you'll text them and say, go buy an Android and we'll do it on Duo.
Say, here's your Zoom link. Does that work?
So one of the other huge complaints we've had since the app came out is for pictures. When you'd click on it, it'd be pretty small like this. So just recently they made it to where you can rotate your phone so it's portfolio. And one thing that drove me crazy is you couldn't actually zoom in. So you were stuck on this tiny picture and you couldn't zoom. But now they've added the pinch zoom feature. It's kind of lagged right there, but.
Say, what is that? And zoom in on it.
Yeah, it's a rough house in my neighborhood.
Huh.
First time buyer.
Need some serious work, baby.
That's what I'm looking for. All right, let's see. So then we have the feed button right next to, so on the bottom, you have search, which is the tab we're on. That's what it automatically opens to. And then you have your feed button. So if I go to feed, I can see all the homes that Bree's added to different lists. And I think they're still kind of working on all this feed activity to make the communication between all parties a little more seamless. So the guide would be like if Bree and I were under contract for a property and she check marked that we were done with a certain step of our guide, it would show up there. And then you can click on the different options and it's going to pull up those collections. And then next to that on the bottom, we have the buying and selling guide. So if we click on that, the tabs at the top, you can select buying or selling. And then each step of the process you can click on, and it's going to have all that information that we filled out when we initially set up that app. And you can also go in and edit it after you've created the app in your consumer tab of Command. So once the client actually goes through and completes that step, say they started their search, they would go to the bottom and click Mark Step as completed. And then they can go to the next step, which obviously it's a Keller Mortgage promotion right there. And then I believe if I go to feed, it should show it now. Oh, so it's not there yet. Yeah, so definitely go through and customize these steps to how you run your business and make sure all the verbiage is correct. I know when it first came out, I'm not sure if it still is, but it was talking about some agent named Paul or something.
Yeah, Paul was in there. I mean, I like the idea of customizing it and making it kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know, I joke with my clients, so, you know, putting in the scripts about, now this is the part where you're really going to freak out. You know, I think because that's something I would say to them. If you're kind of a suit and tie, no jokes personality, they would think weird.
It's just an idea that randomly popped in my head just now. Maybe I need to submit it. But it'd be cool if we could create multiple templates for like different personality types.
Yes.
Have someone that wants bullet points. Here you go.
Nice.
Someone that wants to read a novel. There's the full thing. Cool.
I also want to be
based on their disc profile.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
I want to be able to record a video to go in here of me explaining what's happening.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Awesome. Which I think is on the list.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Next tab at the bottom, we have saved. So this is where all your saved properties and collections are, and your saved searches as well. So if I click on recent collections, it's going to pull up all of my collections that we've created. So we have our cabin homes, different cities, potential investments. I have our multi-million-dollar beach homes that I look at for fun. And we go back and we have the saved searches. So I'll show you in a second how you can actually save a search yourself as the client. And then in Command, we can also go into our contact files for someone that's branded the app to us, and we can save searches for them. So you'll see on this top one, it says test search saved on 513 by agent. So that's one that I went into Command and saved to my contact file. And then these other ones that don't say by agent are ones that me as the consumer created inside my app. And if you were to click on one, it's just going to show up exactly where you saved that search and which criteria you saved it as.
And I'm assuming that draw button means you could literally draw a circle or any kind of a shape, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
and does that automatically create it as a collection or a search?
You'll have to save it. So I'll show you that right now. So let's say I zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to click the draw button and it gets rid of everything else. It says draw a line around an area. So I want to, oh, here we go. Draw a big circle there. And then I still have this criteria up top. So I'm going to get rid of this price range. Not much in there. Let's get a few more properties.
You know, when your client says, I don't want to live west of.
I want to live under this road.
Or north of 92, or, you know, you can draw those.
So we have that. Let's say we only want a certain price point. So we'll cut it down somewhere in there. Let's say we're only interested in houses. Maybe a certain lot size, we could change that. So once you have all that criteria and the map set up, you're going to go up to the top right where it says save and click on that button. I might say, let's say test. And then they click save. And then when I go back to that saved tab, it's going to show up right there under the saved searches, and it's just going to pull that right up.
Kevin, Kevin, do they allow you to search by school?
You can search by counties right now, but not by specific schools. Hopefully they'll give us that soon. Let's say I did Cobb County School District. Yeah, so you can't specify like Walton yet.
What about zip code?
Yes, zip code too.
Zip code you can?
Yes.
Can we search by FMLS area?
No, not
Okay.
yet. Yeah, so city, zip code, school, like county districts and specific addresses. And then they just came out with a newer feature for like landmarks, I believe, which I haven't played around with much, but we can try it. Let's try like Grant Park, maybe.
I was just Atlanta Zoo is what I was going for.
Atlanta Zoo, let's try that. Which I'm sure this is going to take some time to update everything.
The example they give is Empire State Building.
Empire State.
Maybe.
I guess it's still being developed, but soon you'll be able to say like, I want to live near, you know, the Washington Monument or Grant Park, and it's going to pull up all the properties within, you know, walking range of Grant Park.
One of the things I love that buyers can do is they can go into their account settings and they can enter the address of their workplaces and other places important to them, and it'll show commute times on every listing. Given the data that they've put in.
Is that just, do they know that, or do we need to tell them that?
It's under settings. It might be something you want to point out to them. They may not see it naturally. Yeah.
Yeah, so places. Oh.
So Kevin, in the search bar where it says city, you know, zip, and it says schools, what are they looking for there? City, address, school, zip.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, you can search anything. You know, it says school as if you can look for a specific school, but as of right now, it's just full counties.
Like you can look up Fulton County school system and it should show.
That would be pretty, I would think, frustrating. People think, consumers are going to think, right?
I think it's coming. They started, you know, a lot of places in the country. A school district is a county district. They don't necessarily work the way ours do. And I do know that they know that we want that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a lot of, you know, they built this for everyone. So they have to now get into the local level and, you know, work out the kinks for each individual location. Like, you know, a lot of places might not have multiple MLSs, so they don't have those duplicate listings. You know, like Carrie said, maybe some places there's one school district for a handful of schools, whereas Cobb County has a lot of schools.
Speaking of that, I wanted to go back. I did a search on Zillow and moments ago. I'm not finding that it has duplicates. Is that something I'm missing?
I'm not sure. I don't use Zillow. I think I've seen duplicates on there before, but
I feel like I have. I always have it set to just FSBOs.
Yeah.
Realtor.com used to have duplicates, but I don't think I've ever seen duplicates on Zillow. I think they figured that out.
I'm not sure about
Evan, Carrie, kind of changing direction slightly. So if a contact favors one of the listings, where do we go see that? Is that where in command do we see that?
So you want to switch back to me, Kevin, and I'll show a contact?
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Carrie, sounds like that's something they recently added, because I remember we had talked
You
about
and
that
I
a couple weeks ago.
They did. They've
Yeah,
even added pictures.
on this. I can get to a window of command. Yeah,
Carrie, while that's spinning, I was just going to ask, I'm trying to find location settings on my iPhone. Do you remember what that is under? I don't know why I can't find that.
I'm an Android user, so I can't tell you.
Got you, Eric. Let's see. It is.
Siri and search.
It's under privacy and settings.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, and that's on. Okay. Yeah, it's been weird. Like somebody else mentioned too, they figured it out with their settings that whenever I'm searching for a property on my app, like to send to a client or something, and it always pulls things up from like Kansas or somewhere else, and it's like, why? You put in an address that you would think would pop up. So maybe it's just some updates that are going on that I know they're fixing things all the time, but sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. So my location was on. So anyway.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of cases, the search, like when you're assigning things within contacts, their search sometimes, their predictive search is a little bizarre. It'll come up with, you're right, like some really weird, you'd think that the search would start to learn, where you are and what kinds of things you typically look for, but it doesn't seem to.
Carrie, do you want me to share my command?
I don't know if this is my internet or my command. Go ahead. Give you the reins back.
There we go.
I have a quick question about the app. I'm trying to download it, which is crazy that normally it would update it by itself, right? When Kevin's showing his phone feature, and then at the bottom right, where it says more, it says you for me. And oh, never mind. It would just download. It took me forever to update the system. Now I'm updated. It still say you. So is that normal?
If you click on you, do you see your information as the agent at the top? You might need to.
Basically, it just like there's like Kit Vanderpool, no picture, but at the bottom, it has my picture as your agent.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like that was how mine used to look. At the bottom, do you see where it says like V under sign out, where it says like the version?
Yeah, 6.02.
Okay, mine is 6.2.0. So maybe there's a new update. You need to go to the App Store to refresh or something.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, so this is my contact file in command. And we're going to see on the right side, so this is that saved search that I just created. And then it says I finished this step of the buyer's guide. And then these are the properties that Bree had viewed, I guess earlier today, or maybe I did. So now it has those addresses, and if we click on one, it's going to pull up our website and go right to that property, so we can look through the
Okay.
picture.
Yeah, that's the new ad then. That's great.
I mean, that was game changing for me. Ooh, I want
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, they would show that they looked at one. Just
But
now
they
you can
wouldn't
actually
say what.
go see it. Yeah.
And so these are viewed collections, but if we scroll down, hopefully it still shows up. I've noticed the other day there was actually a picture next to a property, like right here. So if you request a tour, it actually shows the property there. So there's a video tour. I tested a request the other day. So it says they requested a tour for this property, and then view request. It's going to show what time frames they want and which platforms.
So I guess adding on, so if I'm getting ahead of myself, maybe. So obviously from the timeline, you can see their collections, their list of properties. Is there a play? Yeah, well, I see up there. So save searches. That's for what you've created.
So I click on here. These are all of the searches that person saved. So it says created by consumer, so I can see which ones they've saved, and then I can go in and edit the ones that I've saved for them.
And
so
then
if I wanted to create a new search for this person, I would do create save search.
Right.
And then just fill out all that information.
What about a list of their favorites?
I think they're still working on that clean list of their favorites. But I can, like, if I scroll down through my timeline, I can see,
right,
their favorite collection. So it is right there. I feel like they're going to make it a little more clear. It's like, here's all of their collections. Right. Here's all those saved properties.
Well, it's kind of like, really, it's just adding another place up there by saved searches where it's like clients' favorites or whatever. Mm-hmm. Kind of like we see in the FMLS matrix, where you click on the red heart and you see everything.
So I guess if you do hit this drop down, which I haven't played around with this too much, but you can, because one of my kind of pet peeves is, say I'm contacting this person. I want to see, like, when I open their file, when did I last contact them? I don't want to have to scroll through a million things that they've saved.
Right.
So yeah, this date range and all activity, these drop downs can help you, you can say favorited listing.
Of operations, but it's really kind of so much more than that. Responsibilities and requirements are really quite extensive.
Yeah, again, I haven't played with this. Maybe it's a new feature they're working on, but it looks like we're going to be able to filter based on that.
Yeah, that's new. I like it.
Right.
Work.
All right, we've kind of gone over, but any questions you guys have? Thank you, Kevin, for hopping on and sharing.
You're welcome.
You've got more activity log in your apps than I do in mine, so that is helpful for you to be able to show.
My girlfriend uses it every day.
I can tell. You might should give her a call.
She wants us to buy $1 million properties in the mountains.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for coming today, and I hope you learned something.
Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Bye,
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Hey, Carrie.
Yes.
Someone was asking me that couldn't be on it. Remind us, where do we go see the recording for this later? Is it in?
Kevin has set up a YouTube channel just for our office.
Let me share my screen. I'll show you how to get there real quick.
Thanks.
I thought it was YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
YouTube. So we search for Quan Training, I believe it is.
Okay, that's easy. Cool.
I don't know why this guy comes up with Quan Training, but he has a lot of random videos.
Muscle stuff, yeah.
I don't know how to search YouTube very well, but if you scroll down, like here's a DocuSign one. But this is our channel right here, Quan Training.
Okay. Cool. Appreciate it.
And this one will be up soon.
Well,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you guys. Great job. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.